Hey everyone, it's your boy the Stutter God. I'm back with another video. Now, in my last video, I mentioned that supposedly Native American babies were disappearing. Now, update, that actually wasn't the case. No, wasn't just randomly or anything like that. This thing was planned out. Oh, it wasn't just babies. Or as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't babies. I'm pretty sure babies were hardly involved in the first place. Now it's just regular children, just kids. As if that makes anything better. But real quick, I'm going to break it down piece by piece and tell you guys how it's actually much worse than I previously thought. Oh, and how they basically didn't tell you any of this in school. So real quick, basically, there was this man named Richard Henry Pratt, and what he did was he took Native American prisoners and he basically dressed them up and taught them English. And what he did was he tried to assimilate them into American culture. And his little experiment was somewhat a success. So he brought his findings to the government. And once they heard of what he did, they decided to do the same thing, only on a more educational platform. So what they did was build a school purely for Native American children. Oh, but it wasn't like they willingly went or anything. It wasn't like the parents actually like signed a form, letting their kids go experience more things. No, they were actively forced to go. Like the parents had no other choice. They were forced to go against their own will. And not only that, once they were there, the people in said school or camp or whatever it's called, either or, doesn't really matter. Wherever, what happened was once they arrived, they would cut the kids' hair because, as you know, hair can be sometimes uh can be a cultural identity. So they cut that off, and they they told the kids, or more so, they forced the kids to only speak English. They could not speak their native language. Also, they basically made them wear American clothes, right? And it gets worse from here. So, not only were the parents forced to send their kids there, but in wanting to be close to them, they would often camp right outside the place, just to be closer with their children. But it gets worse because it wasn't like as soon as they got in there, everything was peachy. No, there were rumors that was basically true from the get go. I mean, come on, it said it was like rumors or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it happened. I'm pretty sure. And what happened was they were subjected to physical, sexual, and mental abuse. That's what happened. And people don't know this for sure. It was speculated, but I'm pretty sure it happened. I'm like 100% sure that actually happened. 100% sure. But wait, it gets worse. You see, what? Despite all that, the government didn't care that the kids were being harmed or anything like that. They only wanted results. And when they realized that what they were doing was actually somewhat successful, they decided to build more schools, and as such, more Native American children were forced from their families. But wait, it gets even worse. You see, white people decided to adopt
some Native American children. You know, giving them a proper home. You know, stuff like that. But the children weren't orphans. No, they weren't. The children weren't born like their parents didn't die from an accident or anything like that. They weren't orphans. Nah, the parents were forced to give them up. Right? They had no other choice. The kids, both parties, meaning the children and the parents, were actively being separated because white people wanted to adopt them. Why? I don't know. Oh, actually, I do know. It's probably because to them, Native Americans were simply animals. Like they were a barbaric people. They were they were stupid, shit like that, bro. I forgot the exact words the man used, but yeah, they were basically treated less than people. Huh? Sounds familiar. But wait, I'm not done. So, knowing that all that happened and that kids were both sent to school and were likely abused, the kids who were adopted were also probably abused as well. So it goes two fronts. Right? And the thing that gets me the most is that no one taught us this in school. Like, I never learned that this was actually a thing. And this straight leads to another topic I want to talk about. So, there's like Black History Month, right? And every month they would teach us, at least in school, they would teach us about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, and that was it. That all they taught us. And once every year we would watch Martin Luther King I Had a Dream speech every single time, right? Excuse me. And they basically said that slavery was bad. That's it. Every year, the same thing, the same narrative. Every single fucking year. Slavery was bad. But Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, like that's it. That's all they taught us. That's all they taught us. Do you want to learn more? You gotta do your own research. I'm just surprised no one actually taught us this. Like, this wasn't even mentioned, as far as I'm aware. As far as my memory goes, and 9 out of 10, I have pretty good memory, this thing was never brought up in class. Never brought up. Not a single time. And yet, when slavery is brought up, and when mainly when the main topic is about black slavery, we're basically taught that, again, it was bad, but people did this, and now everything's all better. That was basically the element to it all. And the thing that gets me is, this all leads up to critical race theory, right? If critical race theory was actually part of the curricular program in schools, we would probably know more than what we know right now. You see, the thing is though, that's not going to happen because some parents, white parents, mind you, are trying to actively stop that from happening because they don't want their kids to learn about racism, even though even though all they have to really do to be exposed is go on a Call of Duty server. Hell, I mean, If not, then they're the ones probably in said server throwing racial slurs. Nigger this, nigger that, fucking hate the Jews. Like, and that's the real funny thing to me is that when the school wants to actively teach your children about racism, you're not about that. But when your child is exposed to it, and says it online, it's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. And these kids be mad little, like 6, 5, 7, mad little kids. And yet you expect me to believe that they're too young to learn about racism, or that it's too difficult, or that we shouldn't teach it because it makes America look bad. Those are the excuses you want to go with? I was exposed to racism before. When I recently moved here a while back, I went down the block, right? And I met a kid who threw racial slurs and made jokes. That was also racist. The whole package. Said that, oh man, you okay? Like I forgot exactly what he said, but he made jokes regarding George Floyd, about black people, like all that. He did. We went the whole mile. Went the whole mile. Yes, even though I'm pretty sure he was joking at the time, I was still exposed to that. Now, actively, the only time I was exposed to that type of thing, and if that can happen to me, why not let other children, specifically young children, learn that doing or saying stuff like that is not okay at a young age? So when they grow up, they can actively spot that type of situation and avoid it. You know, kids like me shouldn't even be in that situation in the first place. Not kids. I'm full grown adult now, but people like me should never be exposed to that type of situation. That should have never happened. But yet, when people want to teach children about it, and to make sure that it doesn't happen to others, people are not down with that. They're not okay with it. They don't want their kids to learn about. They don't want their kids to learn that America was indeed built on racism, violence, and anything else. They don't want their kids to learn about that. They don't want to learn about the true history. They want to actually block that from being taught in school. Why? Because it makes America look bad. And that's the real excuse here. It will make America look bad. Since when has America been a truly great country? Right, I get it. I fully understand it. We have things that other people don't in other countries. I'm perfectly aware of that. But at the same time, was it really great for those who moved here and still having to be a different color? Was it really great for them? Can you actively say America was a great country when you're not white? Can you actively say that? Can you say America is a great country? It's a great country, knowing that 400 years or so, there were slaves out in your backyard, treating to the fields, or 70 years ago, there were KKK members in the streets hanging black men, or a long ass time ago in the Los Angeles riots, there was a person named Rodney King who was beat brutally by a white police officer. Can you say that's a great country? Can you say that? Can you say that America is a great country knowing that all that stuff I mentioned happened? Can you say that? I know it might be a bit difficult for you to understand because the way I talk and stuff, and I apologize, but I really want to ask yourself that. People have been enslaved here. They have died here. They lost everything here. And that's not always the case, but it happened. And because it happened, because it's well known history and it's documented, that history should be taught to the younger generation so they don't make the same mistakes we did.